are going to get started for this last formal board meeting. I call this.
Good.
Okay, cool. I call this meeting to order at 2 o'clock. Natalie, can I please get land acknowledgement?
Associated Students Incorporated at Sacramento State would like to take a moment to give honor and respect to the ancestors and to the diverse indigenous people connected to this territory on which we meet. The original stewards of this land belong to Nishnawin, Patween, and Miwok Native Americans. Keep them in your mind, carry them in your hearts, and we ask that you take a moment to consider your ancestors and your relationship to the land we are on. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm not going to get Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Please stand. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You guys can hear me okay, right? Okay, cool. All right. Salma, do we have a moment of silence?
No.
Okay, no moment of silence. Lisa, can I please get one last roll call?
Thank you. Pacheco.
Present.
De La Garza Garcia.
Here.
Budani.
Here.
Estrella.
Present.
Andrade Dominguez.
Present.
Ayub Galan.
Present.
Nick Dow.
Here.
Henschel.
Here.
Campbell.
Here.
Beltran.
Here.
Bolas.
Here.
Berea.
Here.
Hurst. Present.
Carroll.
Here.
Curry.
Here.
Gallardo.
Here.
Montalvo.
Here.
Guerrero.
Here.
Gill.
Present.
Reyes.
Here.
Dunning.
Here.
Dalton. Rochef.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're going to move to the approval of minutes of 4/26/2023 board meeting and 5/3/2023 working board meeting. If there are no objections, the minutes will be adopted. The minutes have been adopted. Now we will be moving forward to public comment. Members of the audience may address the board on any item within the jurisdiction of the board or on any agenda item. If you wish to address the board, please sign the speaker identification sheet. When you are called upon to speak, step forward to the podium and state your name and major clearly for the record. Comments are limited to 3 minutes and the overall time is 15 minutes. Those wishing to speak on a non-agenda item will be called upon at the beginning of the meeting. Those wishing to speak for or against an agenda item will be called upon after the item has been officially introduced to the board. Every agenda item will be open for public comment before the board takes formal action on the item. At this time, if there's any public comment, please step forward and that mic should be on, and please sign the speaker identification sheet.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to the board. My name is Emily Tupper, and I'm the Director of Campus Wellness and CARES. And I'm here today because I'm excited about the fact that CARES is partnering with one of the community-based organizations, Lutheran Social Services, to pursue a grant that's targeting youth and homelessness. So the Sacramento County has been awarded a $6.5 million grant with the Youth Homelessness Development Project, and HUD is who is authorizing the grant. So many community organizations are seeking an application at this time. Application is due May 18th. So I have prepared today a small quarter sheet that has a QR code to a survey because we would like students to be able to give input on the grant application that will affect your lives. The grant we are designing, the application we are designing towards seeking resources from this grant is focusing on students who are parents of dependent children. The grant will serve youth age 0 to 24, and transitional age youth age 18 to 24 are the target population for our university. And we will partner with Lutheran Social Services in pursuit of this grant. And part of the grant application requires us to seek input from those who would be served. So I'm really excited about this opportunity. I'm hopeful we will be awarded some monies from the grant. And what we are looking at is providing housing navigation, outreach, shelter, subsidized rent, and resources for students who are parents with dependent children in their custody. At this time, Sacramento State does not have resources in place that targets this population. So I told you when I came here the first time that I was determined to improve that, and this is one way that I hope that that will come to pass. So thank you for the opportunity to make comment. Does anyone do I take questions? Okay, thank you so much. And if these could be passed around, I've left them at the edges of the table. I'm also going to be delivering some to Parents and Families and Women's Resource Center. Haley Myers-Dillon, giving Dr. Dillon credit, she has helped with some data for this. And I'll also forward it to Lisa so that the original is available. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Is there any more public comment? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move over to consent calendar. Are there any items that need to be moved to consent that I'm not aware of? Okay, no items in consent. Now, in the withdrawn items, we have 2022-2305-127 Estrella Pacheco University Committee appointments. 2022-2305-128 Estrella Pacheco recommendation to the President for University Committee appointments. 2022-2305-129 Andrade Dominguez Estrella Pacheco Faculty Senate Committee appointments. Is there any more items that need to be withdrawn? Okay. Now we will move to our new business. The first item, we have 2022-2023-04-126 De La Garza Garcia Budani, approval of the ASI Director Scholarships. Is there a motion? Tricia?
I move to approve 2022-2023 for 126 De La Garza Garcia Budani approval of the ASI Director Scholarship.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Tricia?
I would like the chair to pass the envelopes. Those are for voting members' eyes only. I will go through the scholarship timeline now. The scholarships opened up no later than February 17th. The scholarship committees were constituted by March 8th. During the formal board meeting, scholarship closed on March 17, 2023 at 5 p.m. All the directors had access to applications and essays no later than March 30, 2023. The results of the scholarships were given from me and Laura to Everly by April 14, so she can go ahead and have them check through the student affairs just to make sure that all the candidates, all the applicants or recipients are eligible. We did propose this legislation before. However, after the working board meeting, we found out that there were few conflict of interest that weren't revealed beforehand. So we went ahead and did a double check and made sure that all the recipients are the ones that deserve of it. And now in front of you is the updated legislation for us to pass. I will take any questions, and that's it.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this item? Chris?
Yeah. I was curious.
Is it
I
working?
was curious if any of the recipients had changed in the legislation after the review.
Tricia?
After the review, we did update 2 different recipients. We had them scored by our DFA, Mark Montalvo, and our ASI student assistant, Gabby, that works in our office. We just wanted to make sure that they have been graded fairly, and we just wanted to go through a process again to make sure that we are updating them.
Thank you. Is there any other questions? Okay, we're going to move to a vote. All in favor of 2022-2023 de la Garza Garcia Budani approval of the ASI Director Scholarships, please raise your hand. Thank you. You may lower your hand. All opposed, please raise your hand. All right, the item has been adopted unanimously. Our next item, we have 2022-23-05-130 Budani operating rule change 404 travel funds. Is there a motion? Mr. Bishop?
I move to approve 2022-23-5-130 Budani operating rule change 400.4 travel funds.
Second.
Thank you. Has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Mr. Bishop?
As mentioned during our working board meeting, myself, Lisa, and Emily had a meeting with the sole advisors, student organizations, and leadership, advisors for the sports clubs, just to have a conversation as to why our national championship fund and national travel fund aren't being tapped into as much as we were expecting it to. As I mentioned before, the whole reason why I wanted to be in this position was to make sure that the funds are more accessible to clubs and to all the students. We had a conversation with them and they brought up that some of the games that they are actually on the highest level, they do not give them letters as to they're the highest level of championships. So we came up on an agreement that the sole student organization leadership advisor can attest that the competition is at the highest level within the sport. And if they attest, then we will go ahead and give them access to our national championship fund. That's the only change that is being reflected in this operating rule. I will take any questions.
Is there any questions on the item? Okay, we're gonna move to a vote. All in favor of 2022-23-05-130 Budani operating rule change 400.4 travel funds, please raise your hand. Thank you. You may lower your hand. All opposed, please raise your hand. Okay, the motion has been adopted unanimously. Okay, now we have our next item, 2022-23-05-131 Budani operating rule change 402 Finance and Budget Committee. Is there a motion? Mr. Bishop?
It's starting to sound very single-handed meeting now. I apologize for that. I move to approve 2022-23-5-131 Budani operating rule change 400.2 Finance and Budget Committee.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded. Are there any discussions? Mr. Bishop?
I'm sorry. As per our discussion during the working board meeting, and a lot of discussions before, Finance and Budget Committee had been working on looking at different ways that we could change student employment grant just to make it more accessible in a way that the pies were getting really thin and there was not much left to give. So we came up with an idea, mostly with Sandra, Gina, Mark, and the whole committee. We came up with an idea to just turn it from, changing it from opening the application to the VPs of 3 different divisions instead of opening it to different centers and other organizations on campus. The equation is named after my name, not to brag, but if you have any questions, I will take them, but if the chair allows, I will also pass it on to Mark to, if he has anything to add.
You can absolutely brag. Mark?
Thank you, VPF and the Finance and Budget Committee. Really appreciate you taking the initiative on this one because it really gets the money more accountable over to campus. Because as I mentioned at Working Board, we were in the high 20s of applications a few years back, and now it's at 57. So it's kind of getting a little bit out of hand, but it puts more accountability on the divisions to monitor and to allocate, but once again, it's just for student employment only, no other resource, or they use it for any other means other than the students itself.
Thank you. Is there any other discussions or questions? Tina?
Tricia made comment of the fact that it's 3 divisions, and I wanted to clarify for everyone who wasn't part of the discussion as to why. Well, first off, all of our centers and that have historically and recently that have been applying, that have been applying are from our 2 major divisions, which are student affairs and academic affairs. But when we went back and looked at the history of this grant, it identified areas that, and one of the areas that now falls under inclusive excellence. So we wanted to honor the original referendum way back when. And that was Sandra and Mark did the research on that, and that's why those 3 divisions are identified. So don't think that anybody's being left out. They historically hadn't necessarily applied or haven't recently. And the right divisions are being identified as the divisions who the referendum was pointing to back in the day, or at least the modern version of what the referendum was pointing to back in the day. So I wanted to clarify that in case you wondered why it was just 3 divisions.
Thank you. Mark?
And just one other thought, I'm really loving this name, the Udani equation, so that's going to be going down in history until it's changed up, so it's a great name for it.
All right. I was going to join you, but nobody was joining, so we'll just save it for after. Is there any other discussion on the item, any questions before we vote? All right, seeing none, we're going to take a vote. All in favor of 2022-23-05-131, Udani operating rule change 402, Finance and Budget Committee, please raise your hand. All right, thank you. You may lower your hand. All opposed, please raise your hand. Okay, the item has been adopted unanimously. Our next item, we have at 2022-23-05-132, ASI Board allocation of strategic priority funding for 2.1.1, engaging wellness activities / sponsorships / partnerships. Is there any discussion? Or, I'm sorry, is there a motion? Lexa, do you mind?
Chris? I move to approve 2022-23-5-132 Estrella Budani allocation of strategic priority funding for 2.11 engagement wellness activities, sponsorships, and partnerships.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Lexa?
As mentioned in the working board meeting, many of us decided that it would be appropriate for us to support many centers in establishing a clothing closet. So I think the only change here is that we've included the Schema Center. Even though they are not established yet, they will be sharing the closet with the Women's Resource Center. And I have already created the reusable posters for them. So I'm just waiting for a couple centers. So for instance, the Asian Pacific Islander Desi American Center and the Martin Luther King Center will be they have named the closet, I believe they said the Equity Closet. And for the Pride Center, it'll be called the Lavender Closet. So they've all came up with names that go appropriate with each center. And you know, if this gets approved, we'll be giving them all these items here so that they're able to establish them. And we've also distributed the clothes left over to all of these centers, and some of them will come and pick up more. Any questions?
Awesome. Is there any questions? Veronica?
I was wondering if the Iranian Middle Eastern Studies Center was ever reached out about this too. I know they're kind of small compared to some of the other ones, but I just wanted to see if they were reached out about this.
Lexa?
Yeah, so I reached out to multiple centers via email, and then those who replied were the ones that I went ahead and had follow-up conversations with. And then the only reason why we reached out to the Schema Center is just because I think there's potential there, since the Women's Resource Center struggles with their space. They'll be able to share the storage, but I did reach out to them. I didn't get a response.
Is there any other questions or discussions on the item? All right, we're going to move to a vote. All in favor of 2022-23-05-132, Estrella Budani, allocation of strategic priority funding for 2.1.1, engage in wellness activities / sponsorship / partnerships, please raise your hand. Okay, you may lower your hand. All opposed, please raise your hand. Okay, the motion is, or the item has been adopted unanimously. Okay, cool. Our next item, we have 2022-23-05-133, Ayub Galan Budani, allocation of strategic priority funding for 2.2, support basic needs initiatives. Is there a motion? Mr. Bishop?
I move to approve 2022-23-5-133 Golan Budani allocation of strategic priority 2.2 support basic needs initiatives.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion, Mr. Bishop?
So thank you, Gina and Mark. We have updated the language so it reflects that it's not gonna be like a donation. It's just gonna be like moving monies from one ASI program to another. But all the remaining money after it has been used up in the Lexus legislation that was just approved will all be transferred or moved from our budget, like our strategic priorities, to the ASI food pantry. I will take any questions.
Is there any questions? All right, seeing none, we're going to move to a vote. All in favor of 2022-23-05-133, Ayub Galan Budani, allocation of strategic priority funding for 2.2, support basic needs initiatives, please raise your hand. All right, you may lower your hand. All opposed, please raise your hand. All right, the motion has been adopted unanimously. Our next item, we have 2022-23-05-134, Hearst Resolution in support of AB 2881, Public Post-Secondary Education, Students with Dependent Children. Is there a motion? Justin?
I move to approve item 2022-23-05-134, Hearst Resolution in support of AB 2881, Public Post-Secondary Education, Students with Dependent Children.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Justin?
Yes, so this resolution has not changed much since discussing it last week. And moving forward, I've accepted the suggestions and made the corrections for Sac State being Sacramento State, as well as I want to call their attention. I did add one clause, one statistic at the top of the second page, the first whereas clause. It reads, whereas nationally over half of parents enrolling in college for the first time will go on to drop out within 6 years without attaining a degree. I felt that that was important to include. Other than that, I've had a couple of discussions in the past couple of days since submitting as a revised version. So if I may, I would like to motion to amend the clause. Is that the correct language?
Move to amend.
I move to amend.
How?
What do you want to amend? Just so say the whole.
Oh yeah, I
amend.
move to amend the sixth whereas clause as it reads, whereas student parents face many challenges in their education journey. I would like to thank Sandra for pointing this out, but education should read educational. Yeah.
Typo, you don't need
Oh, typo?
that typo grammatical, we don't need a motion for that.
Okay, well, there's one other one, which is a little more substantive, so I'll just restate. I move to amend, hold on, let me retract that motion and explain it. So upon further reading of the actual policy, and thank you to Natalie for helping me see what the Faculty Senate will be voting on tomorrow, they're going to be adopting the exact language that is used in the legislation that the state passed in AB 2881. However, I think that this is a good opportunity for this board to help the language a little bit. As the law reads right now, and as they're planning to adopt it in Faculty Senate, the definition of a student parent is, quote, a student who has a child or children under 18 years of age who will receive more than half of their support from that student, which in my mind, reading that, the support reads financial, which under that definition, I think it would discount a lot of student parents on campus, myself included, because being a full-time student, I can't necessarily contribute as much financially as my partner, who's not. So I motion to add a clause as the second resolved clause, and I'm ready whenever it process.
No, you're, okay, so say your
Yes.
amendment, I'm sorry.
So are you adding an entire resolved?
Yes.
Okay. And you want it after the first resolve?
Yes, I would like to do the second one.
Okay.
So I motion to
I
amend.
move.
I move to amend to add a resolve clause that would read, resolved ASC SUS supports the definition of student parent to mean, quote,
I have this all written out.
I do have it written. A student who has a child or children under 18 years of age who will receive more than half of their support, dash, be it financial or care-based, dash, from that student.
Thank you. Has been moved, the amendment has been moved and seconded. Back to the item.
Nope.
No? Any discussion on the amendment? Sorry. Okay, we're gonna vote on the amendment. All in favor of the amendment that Justin just said, please raise your hand. 1, 2. Thank you. You may lower your hand. All opposed, please raise your hand. All right, the amendment is adopted. Now back to the item. Back to the item as amended. Is there any further discussions, any questions? Okay, we're gonna move to vote. All in favor of 2022-23-05-134, Hearst, a resolution in support of AB 2881, public post-secondary education, students with dependent children. Please raise your hand. All right, you may lower your hand. All opposed, please raise your hand. All right, the adopted has been, the item has been adopted unanimously. Our next item, 2022-23-05-135, Bolus Hearst resolution in support of AB 266, legislative internship program. Is there a motion? Veronica?
I move to
Adopt.
approve.
Okay,
Sorry.
take a deep breath, you're good.
I move to approve 2022-23-05-135, resolution in support of AB 266, legislative internship program.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Veronica?
Sorry about that. So I didn't really amend this, or I didn't really change anything in this resolution. Everything pretty much stayed the same. So I don't really have anything else to talk about.
Is there any questions on the item? Salma?
I'm not sure if you can even answer this, but under the same center that oversees the interns, they also oversee the CAP Fellows program. Do we know, I guess I want to make sure that our interns aren't being paid like $1 less than a fellow would be, and so I want to know if you know the difference in how much they're going to be compensated.
Veronica?
No, I don't know that. Looks like
I have a feeling. Gina?
I actually don't know how much the fellows are paid, but the fellows are paid as student assistants, and this is noted as a stipend, which was my concern in the first part. when I did a quick calculation, I determined it was gonna be about $17 an hour, which is above minimum wage. I think the fellows probably get paid more, but they definitely do way more in their application process is way more. So I feel like the fellows is something very different than an internship. But this is also structured as a stipend, so it's kind of hard to compare and draw the line with how the fellows are paid. And they both have separate budget bills that would be funding those activities. So I just think there's no way to kind of draw the line.
Veronica?
Yes, so I remember when I was going over it with Sidra, she mentioned that, yeah, there's a big difference between the two programs because this is kind of stressing, I even said in the bill language, that it's like, it's an internship and this does not include anything of like whether the student ends up getting a job afterwards or it doesn't have anything to do with fellowships or like usually like jobs. And this is just strictly like that internship through this program. And I remember she also said something about how, where it says something about how the center will basically be in charge of administering that, those payments to the students. So we tried to look into it, but we couldn't really see how it would work with Sac State, but we kind of are hoping that at least they would work, since it's our center that's usually in charge of it, they would try to work with our campus to see the best way to administer it. And it is open to the center of whatever way they want to. It just, the price is the set.
Thank you. Is there any other questions or discussions on the item? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move to a vote. All in favor of 2022-23-05-135, Bolus Hearst Resolution in support of AB 266 Legislative Internship Program, please raise your hand. All right, you may lower your hand. Our next item. Or, just kidding. All opposed, please raise your hand. All right. Item has been adopted unanimously. Our next item, 2022-23-05-136, Bolus Resolution in support of SB 260 Menstrual Products through CalWorks. Is there a motion? Veronica?
I move to approve 2022-23-05-136 resolution in support of SB 260 menstrual products through CalWorks.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussions? Veronica?
So this one hasn't changed much either. I believe this is the one that we had suggestions about, but after me and Sidra looked at it, we noticed that. Oh, was this the one that you guys suggested to include international students? And no, that was the other one. Okay, then this one doesn't have any changes to it. It's the way it is.
Thank you. Is there any questions or further discussion on the item? Okay, we're going to move to a vote. All in favor of 2022-23-05-136, Bolus Resolution in support of SB 260 Menstrual Products through CalWorks, please raise your hand. All right, you may lower your hand. All opposed, please raise your hand. Okay, the item has been adopted unanimously. Our next item, 2022-23-05-137, Bolus Resolution in support of AB 888, Financial Aid Asylum Seekers. Okay. Is there a motion? Veronica.
I move to approve 2022-23-05-137 resolution in support of AB 888 financial aid and asylum seekers.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussions? Veronica?
So this one we did make some changes to. We added 2 whereas clauses on the last page. The first one says some DACA recipients, or whereas some DACA recipients may choose to apply for asylum affirmatively because while DACA only provides temporary relief from removal from the United States, asylum provides a more secure and longer lasting status with the opportunity to obtain lawful permanent residency 1 year after the asylum grant and U.S. citizenship 4 years after obtaining LPR, commonly known as green card status. And then I added, and whereas the fiscal impact will be minor and absorbable general fund costs to the California Student Aid Commission, CSAC, to administer the program, and ongoing general fund costs of an unknown amount provide Cal grants to newly eligible asylum seekers. Neither the state's colleges and universities nor CSAC collect data on the number of asylum seeking students. Therefore, the cost is not expected to be a large amount and hasn't been a number obtained yet because there's no data on the number of asylum seeking students. So they were not able to calculate the exact fiscal impact earlier. So that was brought up to us at the last meeting about like what the fiscal impact is for this bill. And after looking into it, we saw that there wasn't a fiscal impact yet. It had gone through appropriations once and actually passed unanimously through them, and it actually went through again this morning. So we'll see, hopefully this morning after it goes through appropriations, which is where they decide on the fiscal impact, we'll be able to know more about it. But right now they just don't have the data to see what the impact will be.
Thank you. Is there any other questions or discussions on the item? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move to a vote. All in favor of 2022-23-05-137, pull list resolution in support of AB 888, financial aid for asylum seekers, please raise your hand. All right, you may lower your hand. All opposed, please raise your hand. Okay, the item has been adopted unanimously. Now we have 2022-23-05-138, Ayukalan resolution in support of AB 644, Justice for Josiah Lawson Act. Is there a motion? At all?
Hello. Nothing.
I need to make a motion.
Sorry. I move to approve resolution in support of AB 644, Justice for Josiah Lawson Act.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? At all?
Hi. So I changed what was recommended from triggering to content warnings. I also got in contact with the Chip Madison, who is the police officer in charge, I guess? Chief. That was the word I was looking for. And he put me in contact with his deputy, and she reached out to me and said that there was no hate crime that was reported from the academic year 22-23, and so I know there was a suggestion about that, and so I didn't have resources to kind of go back off, but other than that, whatever was suggested was changed. Yeah.
Thank you. Is there any other discussions or questions on the item? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move to a vote. All in favor of 2022-23-05-138, Ayukalan resolution in support of AB 644, Justice for Josiah Lawson Act, please raise your hand. Okay, you may lower your hand. All opposed, please raise your hand. All right, the item has been adopted unanimously. Our next and final item, we have 2022-23-05-139, Ayukalan, Budani, Badia, Pacheco, Estrella, Hurst, resolution in support of Mark Montalvo, retirement from Director of Finance and Administration, DFA. Is there a motion? At all?
I move to approve 2022-2023-05-139, Ayukalan, Budani, Badia, Pacheco, Estrella, Hurst, resolution in support of Mark Montalvo, retirement from Director of Finance and Administration.
Second. Has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussions at all?
Hi, Mark. So we wrote you a resolution in support of your retirement, and so I'm going to read it. Whereas Associated Students Inc. at Sacramento State, ASCSUS, is the sole representative voice of more than 30,000 students at Sacramento State. And whereas ASCSUS recognizes the Director of Finance and Administration of Associated Students, Mark Montel, retirement after 12 years of service and hard work for the students, staff, and faculty at Sacramento State. And whereas Mark Montel began his college career at American River College and achieved his AA, transferred to Sacramento State, and achieved his BS in Accounting and Business Management. He completed his Master's of Business and Administration at the University of the Pacific. And whereas Mark Montalvo has accomplished many achievements during his time at ASI, such as removing barriers for students, clubs, and organizations to receive dollars for O's and clubs, funding by creatively brainstorming with the accounting services team, by reducing paperwork and still meeting GAAP standards, generally accepted accounting principles. And whereas he developed an extensive Microsoft Excel spreadsheet with ASI Finance and Budget Committee members to allocate funding for the student employment grant in a viewpoint and neutral manner. And whereas he has worked with 13 annual budgets on behalf of ASI, adding up to $116,278,627, whereas many students, alumni, and staff see Mark Montalvo as someone that is principled, has integrity, is driven to get things done, great with numbers, has amazing leadership skills, and always finds a way to make everyone understand the numbers through humor and fun. And whereas Mark Montalvo welcomes students' opinions and welcomed and embraced their thoughts with open arms, with ASI Finance and Budget Committee, allowing our current and former ASI Vice President of Finance to be looped in with anything that relates to the student population. And since Mark loves numbers, I had to include this. Mark Montalvo, who has worked with 182 elected board members during his time with ASI, 13 boards times 14 elected positions equals 182 students. And whereas Mark Montalvo loves snickerdoodles, cookies, potato salad, coffee from Starbucks, and red pens. And whereas he has graduated from his old calculator and has started to use his phone for the first time ever this year in 2023. And whereas Mark Montalvo is retiring on August 25th, 2023. And whereas Gina Ferry states, we were incredibly lucky to have such a patient, talented, and committed DFA for the last 12 years, leading the student board through complex and important financials. And whereas Sandra Gallardo states, it has been an honor to work alongside Mark Montalvo these past 6 years. Mark welcomed and supported me from day one and has been a trusted sounding board during my tenure at ASI as executive director. I will miss Mark and his humorous and engaging way of presenting the budget. It has been a privilege to work with him, and I wish him only the best. Now, I had to include a quote from Lisa so that, you can still see her when you're walking past wherever you hang the resolution. Whereas Lisa Dalton states, working with Mark over the last 10 years has been so much fun, you can hardly call it work. Even after hearing his budget presentations more than 30 times over the years, I look forward to it again and again due to his wonderful presentation skills. No one will be able to provide the great one-liners like Mark. And whereas Mark Montalvo has had a number of minutes working and associating with Lisa Dalton for 10 years times 220 days times 8 hours times 60 minutes, which equals 1,056,000 minutes. Whereas Dervisha Budani states, since I work so closely with Mark, he has always been open to listening to my ideas, and he always has his office doors open for everyone. He always expresses his gratitude for having all Finance and Budget Committee members present and involved in all conversations. All in all, he's the coolest and kindest DFA ASI has ever had, and let it be resolved that Mark Montalvo is loved and his legacy will always be here to guide whoever is placed in the DFA position. And let it be resolved that ASCSUS recognizes Mark Montalvo through his leadership as the DFA, someone who has left a memorable mark on the personal and professional development of the ASI Board of Directors to help support the student body at Sacramento State. And let it be resolved, we acknowledge the tremendous work that he has accomplished at Sacramento State, And let it be resolved that during his retirement, he will be adding a German Shepherd dog to his family, hopes to substitute in the classroom, and work at the ASI Aquatic Center regards when he is not on road trips. And let it be resolved that ASCSUS hereby presents this resolution to Mark Montalvo as a token of appreciation for his passion and commitment to students, ASCSUS, staff, and faculty. And lastly, let it be resolved that this resolution be distributed to Sacramento State President Robert S. Nelson, Interim Vice President of Academic Affairs and Provost Carlos Nevadas, Vice President of Student Affairs Ed Mills, Vice President of Administration and Business Affairs and Chief Financial Officer Jonathan Bowman, Associated Vice President for Financial Services Tina Curry, what else am I saying? Assistant Dean and Student and Conduct Director Tom Harrell, Executive Director Associated Students Inc. Sandra Lardo, Director Sacramento State Aquatic Center Brian Dolgar, Director ASI Children's Center Sherry Belt, Director Peak Adventure Valerie Reginer, Director Student Engagement and Outreach Will Chen, Director of Human Services Myra McClem, Manager of Information Technology Gerald Tubo, and Executive and Board Associate Lisa Dalton.
All right, is there any other discussions or questions on the item? All right, we're gonna move, oh, just kidding. Mark, I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand. Go ahead, Mark.
I didn't see it pass.
Thank you very much. And first I want to start with Emily. Now I understand why I haven't had an agenda. I started to question that. Wow. Those words are very powerful and they mean a lot to me. Sandra, when I come in here daily, I'm a gold. You know I'm a gold. And something like this really brings out the blue. There was a time in my life when something blue happened that really changed my life for the better. And when you all look back, there are things that are going to be blue in your life that make you stronger, that make you challenge you, but it's going to be better for your entire life. It's going to be better for your career. So look on those as positive. And I guess I would say, I have to thank ASI for everything. It's been an incredible journey working with students as much as I have, mentoring them, being there, and I've learned a lot from a lot of students and a lot of you. Going behind closed doors, we've had conversations, and I've heard some of your blue stories, and I appreciate you sharing. If I have one regret here at ASI, it's not starting here sooner. Gina, you didn't hire me sooner, but that's one regret, and I wish I did my whole career here. I really love it here. It's time to move on, and thank you very much for this. It does mean a lot to me. And when I do show blue, it's when Lisa comes in the office and starts dancing. But we put up with her, and I appreciate Lisa, Sandra, advisors, Gina, Tom, Robert, all the board members. I really appreciate everything you've done for me these past years. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there any other discussions or questions on the item? Adderall?
If the chair allows, I would like.
Go ahead.
If the chair is allowed, I would like Selma to say something, and then Jerusha, and then Sachi.
All right, Salma, you're up.
This is one of the few times that I feel like I don't know what to say. Mark, you and I have shared so many experiences where I swear I was at my breaking point, and you brought me into your office and made sure I was not gonna stop. So I appreciate you so much. I thank you so much for your guidance and for having that open door policy and bringing me in and just being a sounding board for me, because oh, how I needed it. I wish you the best of luck in whatever you choose to do moving forward, and I really hope that you continue to work with students, because it's been a pleasure to work with you, and I just hope that everyone else gets that chance.
Thank you. Jerusha?
I don't want to cry, so I'm not going to talk a lot. But thank you, Mark. It was such great. I would have not done it with any other DFA. glued to the next BPF. You'll have to deal with someone new. I'm so grateful that I was able to be part of your last year at ASI, and overall, thank you for always encouraging all the F&B members. I think one of the reasons why they were always present is also because Mark always told them, if you need references, if you need anything, please reach out to me. I will do it for you, because it just had been an amazing committee, and one of the reasons why it was so successful was because Mark was part of it. I just thank you for being here. That's it. Sachi.
All right. I was privileged to working with you from past 2 years to Finance and Budget Committee, and I really wish that you could stay one more year so that I will also get an opportunity to work with you, because Dhuvisha, she's always making me jealous, like, hey, I'm working with Mark. But thank you, Mark, for all the work that you have done to make a positive difference in student lives, and you will be deeply missed, but your legacy will continue to live on. So we all are wishing you a happy and fulfilling retirement. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other questions or discussions? All right, seeing none. We're going to move to a vote. All in favor of 2022-23-05-139, Ayub Ghulam Jani Badiya Pacheco Estrella Hurst, resolution in support of Mark Montalvo, retirement from Director of Finance and Administration. Please stand up and give him a round of applause. Incredible. All those opposed, please. All right, the last item has been adopted unanimously. Thank you so much. All right, directors, we have your ASI College Director reports, your last ones. You will have 3 whole minutes to deliver your report. Make it a good one, and 1 minute for questions. So, with that being said, just give me 1 second to get some. All right, our first board report, we have Adderall. Go ahead.
Okay. Can't believe this is my last board report. It's crazy how time flies by so fast. I just want to say it has been an absolute honor to serve you all for an amazing, fun college. I'm sure that you will all do fine. And if you're watching this, I'm still here. Still have 1 more semester left before I graduate. So hit me up for anything that y'all may need. With that being said, I had the honor of chairing Student Marketing and Outreach Committee, and I want to take a moment just to say thank you to Laura that, let me do that. And so we had our last meeting this Monday, actually. And so it was a very nice one, and we concluded Student Marketing and Outreach, and I was able to get done what I wanted to get done with that committee, and hope that next year it will even grow more. Yeah, with all my committees, all of them are done. Lobby Corps was amazing. I mean, I just learned so much. It was amazing to be able to go and do advocacy in the Capitol with chess, just like overall. The Great Appeal Committee was amazing. The Wellness and Sexual Awareness Committee, maybe I butchered it. That was also amazing, and it was very educational. I was really happy that I was part of it. All of my strategic priorities are done, and all of the board strategic priorities as well as are done too. I really enjoyed going to CSSA. And getting to know people. I just made so many connections and so many friendships. It's very amazing. My office hours, I decorated my desk, I decorated my bulletin board, I met with students, reached out to students for SMO. And then I'm done with my presentations as well, and I have attended a lot of events and meetings. yeah, it's been an amazing, great year. I am, about to get into finals, and I hope, everyone takes care of themselves. And it's been an honor and privilege to serve you, and I hope that I did right by you all.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there any questions for Adol? Okay, seeing none, we're gonna move to our next board report. AZ, you're up.
Cool. Thank you. Time flies, very weird, but fun. Yes, so since my last board report, there's been a couple of big events. We finished all of our strategic priorities. I was signed up for the big one being the event with, in conjunction with the Career Center, which was the alumni networking event. That was really fun. The menu and the food was yummy, so that was great. And then a couple of other things. I've been working pretty closely with the new dean of the College of Business. I'm working with the new business director-elect to get her transitioned on some of the working projects that I have going on with him. So she was able to shadow in on a meeting with the dean and Bonnie from the OSC office. So I feel like a lot of the efforts have been surrounding wrapping up stuff in the college and making sure that she's well prepared for a year ahead of ASI, which is fun. So that was great. OSC hosted me for Admitted Students Day, and I got to table with a bunch of students coming in to the business college, and I knew a lot more than I actually thought I did, which is great. And they're like, yeah, you should know that because you're the business director. I was like, oh yeah, that's true. So answered a lot of questions about concentrations, and then got to just tell students why Sac State was great, and that's really easy because it's been a great place for me the last 4 years. Lastly, just the Green and Gold Gala, if you were able to go to that was pretty sick. Yeah, good food, great event to raise a lot of money for the Seth Nelson Scholarship or grant. Yeah, can't remember which one it is, but that was great. And lastly, just wrapping up with ASI things, serving on the Presidential Search Committee has been really intense, but great. We have our interviews this Friday, and those are gonna be fun. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Is there any questions for AZ? Okay, seeing none, we're gonna move to our next board report, which is Tesh.
Hi. Last one, right? Yeah. It sucks. And trust me, graduation and the last semester is really hard. So kudos to who are graduating next year or this year. That's good job. But yeah, special note you can read. It's a good one. I conclude all of my internal and university committees. We conclude everything, and it was great to serve on both of them, on university level and the one internal committee. Strategic priority all done. We had a few events last month, as Izzy mentioned. We both on the same one, so not to repeat. Office hour as usual, meeting with the officers, dean, updating bulletin board, students and all that. Events I have attended is all listed there. I just want to say one thing. I'm really flies, and I really see myself that I changed a lot in the last year, a lot. Someone asked me like, I think a week ago, will you miss the Sac State? I said, I didn't spend that much time at Sac State, but I'll miss the timing of spending. So yeah, really thank you a lot to all.
Thank you. Is there any questions for Tej? Okay, seeing none, we have our next board report, which is Chris.
Okay, last board report. So this has been a really busy year, but it's been an honor to serve the student body, and it's been a pleasure to serve everyone on the board of directors. So to get into my report, as I mentioned before, I served on the Green Team and University Anchor Advisory Committee all year. And we did a lot on Green Team. We passed a single-use plastic policy, and we put together recycling signs. The Anchor University Advisory Committee did a lot as well, and we ended up funding, I had a figure here. Okay, I don't have the figure anymore, but anyway, so we ended up funding a lot of money into grants to help several different organizations and events here on campus. And then I completed all of my strategic priority objectives. One of the goals ASI had this year was to foster a healthy community. I think we did a tremendous job making that happen, and I want to thank everyone who was a part of that priority. Then we can scroll down. I also on a two different search committees this year. I was a search committee for the Associate Dean of Health and Human Services and the Director of Student Success for the College of Health and Human Services. Attended several different events all year. Some of the most notable events were the HHS kickoff event, the Wellness Wednesday event that was a collaboration between the HHS Joint Council and the Joint Council for SSIS. And then we had a long talk about uncomfortable truth, anti-racism activism event that occurred twice this year, once in the fall semester and then spring semester. And then this semester we also did the post-traumatic growth event, and that was a huge success. We had over 180 people attend the event, and it was a great success. We also did Jeopardy nights through the Health and Human Services Joint Council. We had one each semester, and we had one just, I think, 2 or 3 weeks ago. And just yesterday, the Health and Human Services Joint Council went to the ASI Challenge Center. So we had a great time there. So all in all, a ton of different events this year. Yeah, a lot to go over. But you can scroll down to some of the photos.
30 seconds.
Yeah, so this photo was Dean, and then a photo for voter registration, and then I think that was the CSSA, and then the Great Morning Kickoff event. And then this is meeting with the CSU trustee. So yeah, that concludes my report.
Thank you. Is there any questions for Chris? All right, we have our next board report. Katie.
Okay, let's see if I can do this without crying. I cry over everything. All right, so my office hours, I wrapped them up yesterday, and then I started getting things set up for the new director. I'm putting a lot of thorough notes, just because the board, there's no one there right now. And then committee updates for Wellness, Safety, and Sexual Assault Committee. That one was a really powerful committee to be on. And then April 26th was a really busy day for that committee, and then ASI in general. And then our final meeting, we basically concluded everything from the semester, the past year, and then the alcohol advisory meeting, that was done in March. We met once each semester. And then the grade appeal committee, that one was pretty long, in all honesty. We finished the grade appeals yesterday. There was one, and it's just a bunch of back and forth with professors and stuff to finalize everything. We finally got a regrade yesterday. And then strategic priority updates, everything is done. And then I posted, I had the responsibility to do the explore possibility to do a social media takeover. And that one took longer than expected, but I did get it done and posted yesterday. And then April, attended different events. Like I said, the end of the month was really hectic. And then May, that's pretty much all. And then I guess I can read some of my special notes of the Hornets. I won't read all of it, but to the new director stepping in, I just know that you're going to do amazing things, and I can't wait to see all the incredible accomplishments you'll achieve, and I know you'll be a fantastic addition to the team. Although I won't be a Hornet anymore, Sac State will always have a special place in my heart. I'll never forget the incredible memories I've made here, and I'll be rooting for all of you from afar. And while I'm sad to say goodbye, I'm also excited for what the future holds. So a lot of you guys know that I'm transferring to Cal Poly Pomona in the fall, and I'm super excited for that. And it was really nice to have all these opportunities. And thank you all.
All right. Does anybody have any questions? All right, great, no questions. Veronica, you're up.
Okay. So I do want to read my special note to begin with. Hello Hornets, as the semester comes to a close, I want to thank all of you for electing me into this position. I've been able to advocate for so many amazing things because of you all. This has been an unforgettable experience and I can't wait to see what else we do together. For my very last board report, I want to remind you all again to take care of yourselves as finals start rolling around. We are all so close to the end of this year and we've worked so hard. Keep going. You can do this. And to the graduates, congratulations. I wish you all the best in your futures. And thank you, and as always, stay resilient. So to go into the stuff that I've done, for my internal committees, Student Academic Senate, we spent our last meeting wrapping it all up and kind of reflecting on how the year went, going over some things, going over our priorities, wrapping it all up, and it was kind of just a nice last meeting, and that has been one of my favorite committees. I've been on Student Academic Senate since my freshman year, and Natalie did a really amazing job taking it over. Going into Green Team, we also spent the last couple meetings debriefing from events that we had, like Earth Day and stuff like that as well. Academic Policies Committee, that one has been my favorite university committee, just because we've been able to advocate for a lot of issues that are affecting students in our academic policies, like mental health, and that was something that we're trying to really advocate for and add on there in the excused absence policy. So it's been really cool being able to have a direct impact on those policies. And then for Committee on Diversity and Equity, we wrapped it up by kind of having the elections and we re-elected the current chair of it and the vice chair, and then we were kind of fixing up the code, what's it called, the standing rules. For the strategic priorities, all of them are done. My favorite one was definitely the cultural event. It was definitely a lot to plan and it was really difficult, but it ended up going a lot better than I expected. For events, I want to highlight just a couple.
30 seconds.
Oh, okay. Meeting with my dean, the last meeting with my dean was really nice. The alumni networking event was really good and it was amazing. And then me and Adderall have been working on a project, both of us, to add the SWAN group in the CSU census. Hopefully it's something we can do, but we've been having a lot of meetings for that.
Thank you. Is there any questions for Veronica? Okay, seeing none. Sechi, you're up.
I want to appreciate how impacted it was of being part of the ASI, And from my personal experience, I would say that ASI is the best thing happens to me overall. So good luck on finals and congratulations to all the graduating Hornets. And for the committee updates, Finance and Budget Committee, we had a meeting, our last committee meeting on April 25th, where we celebrated with some pizzas. And also got some gluten-free pizza. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Abby. And for the committee updates, I had an interview with our audit firm CLA for annual audit inquiries as the chair of UNILWA. And Friends of the Library, we reviewed some treasury report and voted on proposed bylaws change. And for the strategic priority updates, how satisfying it looks like completed for everyone, like we checked. So it was nice, the alumni networking event, it was a really good turnout for the students and we all made new connections. So it was really successful. And for the officers today, I had a meeting with our elected undeclared director, she's already here. And I just walk her through for the transition. And for the meetings, one of the highlighted one that made the majors event from first year experience and how to win at life. So where I won the raffle prize of Sextet blanket. How funny. And yeah, that's all about it. And also part of the admitted student weekend with ASI. and some of the presentations. And don't forget to look at the last graphic. This is me. How I feel now. So thank you.
Thank you. Is there any questions for Sachi? All right, seeing none, we have Justin. You're up.
Well, last of the last, there's no pressure there. If anyone's interested in reading my board report, it's posted on the website. I'm going to just use this time to talk generally. Some of my highlights being in this position. I'm really proud that I was able to actually get the joint council going right on the deadline for this position. I was really honored to be a part of a lot of different equity spaces where I could be an ally. In particular, I want to point out the ASI Advisory Council. I very much enjoyed being part of that. I will still do work because we got a meeting on Friday. And then lastly, like, I really hope that my role and my advocacy for student parents here on campus had an impact, and I felt very honored to be in this space where I could be that voice. Lastly, I just want to thank everyone on this board for putting me into this position since I came in midway through and you chose me for this position. I hope that I haven't let you down. I'm truly honored to be working with all of you, and really thank you from the bottom of my heart for welcoming me. Like, I really have enjoyed coming in the office just to see everybody, all the work that I've gotten to do with you. And if I have any regrets, is that I came in late and I didn't do a full year with that. So thank you all.
Thank you. Is there any questions for Justin? Salma?
It's not a question, it's more of a comment. I just kind of want to shout out Justin. Being a parent is just hard in itself, but also being a student leader is also hard, but also being a master's student is even harder. So I just want to commend you for being present and for taking on this responsibility and for actually wanting to be a part of this. So you may thank us for your experience, but it's always a pleasure to see you and your lovely daughter in the office. So thank you on behalf of us to you.
Justin?
On that, thank you. Olivia says thank you all as well. And if anyone needs to be sold on the importance of grad school, you have my number. You can call me anytime.
Veronica?
Oh yeah, and then just to add on top of that, I mean, you've worked on the joint council and you've been very active on that. But I do want to thank you too for how like proactive you've been about like legislation and stuff. I mean, I don't know if everyone has noticed, but he's been on a lot of pieces with me relating to bills and things like that. So it's like whenever I don't want to do a piece completely by myself, he's just always in the office and wants to help me with it. So just with everything you're doing and then wanting to be involved in legislation a lot on top of that, that's a really amazing thing.
Awesome. Well, that concludes the college director reports. Congratulations. Thank you for turning all those on time. And now we have announcements. Does anybody have any announcements? Miguel.
All right, the moment you guys have been waiting for. So this past weekend on May 6th and 7th, me and our president-elect Natalie had the opportunity to go to the plenary down at CSU Bakersfield. Down there, there was elections held for the Vice President of Finance for the CSSA, and I'm here to announce the results. So it is Jose Jimenez Cruz from Cal Poly Pomona who won by a majority vote to serve in this position for 2023 to 2024. And they also announced the Civic Challenge winners, which have been announced. Oh, I don't even read that. So basically, third place goes to San Francisco and San Jose. Second place goes to the team of Monterey, San Luis Obispo, and Bakersfield. And first place goes to Sacramento and East Bay. So I would just like to thank everyone here for, contributing and, doing your civic duties and encouraging others to do your civic duties. This has been a team effort, and it has been a tremendous honor and pleasure to serve you all, and I hope to continue serving for next year, and let's kick butt next year as well. So those are my announcements. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other announcements? All right. Well, your guys' duties are not quite done yet. We still have the swear-in ceremony that's happening June 2nd at 10 a.m. in the Well Terrace Suite. So just, if you are able to go, please go and welcome the new person that's going to be taking over your position. And your transitional board report, I think it'll be a nice little interaction. With that being said, Lisa had sent out a checkout email. I'm really hoping that the couple of you that still need to check out are still working through your finals and looking to check out. We want you to do that by March 26th, the latest. May 26th, sorry, not March. May 26th, the latest. So please, if you haven't answered Lisa's email and schedule a time, please do so accordingly. You will still have access to your email. You will still be getting emails. There will be some important announcements on there. You literally are not done with your duties until the next board is sworn in, which is June 2nd. So please still keep an eye on your email for any announcements and any other important information coming your way. I also want to say that whoever has stuff in the fridge, you need to take it out. Please clean the fridge. It is not the responsibility of employees at the office to do that. If you have a dirty dish, please clean it, or if you don't want to clean it, take it home and just leave it there. Don't leave it here in the office, please. So, fridge clean out, and just make sure that you don't leave any dirty dishes. And if Salma and I will connect with you all regarding strategic priorities if we don't see them clear on your board reports, and we don't know the status of them or like what ended it up with. So just keep an eye out for that. If it's not, if there's something you forgot to add on your board reports, just like literally from the first board report to the last one, there's something you forgot to add for strategic priorities, just let us know. But we'll be in contact with you guys to make sure that we accurately reflect on the report for the strategic priorities. And then we have our end of the year celebration in a little bit. So that's all. Done.
Wow, this is the last time you are going to hear me remind you to take care of yourself. I've said it every single board meeting at least once a week, reminding you, and I'm hoping that 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you still hear my voice reminding you to drink water, to eat, to take care of yourself. And I truly empower each and every one of you, advisors included, to continue your leadership and continue to impact the lives that you reach, right? So continue in your leadership, continue down whatever path you choose because you are amazing and excellent, but you have to take care of yourself. So pour into yourself so you can pour into others. And with that, let's celebrate.
Alrighty, any other last minute announcements? Amazing. I am going to adjourn this meeting at 3:18.